And last night, the L.A. Lakers went on the road to take on the Indiana Pacers. And I thought, all right before the game, the Lakers, through sources, leaked out, hey, we're done bidding against ourselves, which I had pointed at. It's just a terrible way to do business. From the Lakers' perspective, from Dell Demps' perspective, is genius, right? Well, we'll offer you Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram and Lance Stevenson and a pick. No, try again. No, go fish. That's basically what they said. And he kept just throwing more into the pot to where it was like a Herschel Walker trade. Lonzo and Ingram and Kuzma, oh my. And then we'll give you a couple expiring contracts. Rondo, who you shouldn't have let go get away anyway. And Beasley, who you can buy out. And some draft picks. Dell Demps never really responded. He's like, you know what? Double the draft picks, and we're in. He asked for a crazy deal, which he's within his rights to do. But you're also within your rights to walk away, which is what I thought Magic Johnson did smartly. Walked away. But by being non-communicative and not understanding the volatility that has been left behind, and the fact that, like, look, this is what LeBron does. When he doesn't get his way, he just shuts down. Shuts down. He's not the only one who does that. He's just the only superstar who does that. He just happens to have been out for 17 games. And then when he came back, they won, and then he had load management. Remember that? Like, look, I'm willing to believe that he legitimately hurt his groin, but when you start leaking stories that he could play if it was the playoffs, and your team is suffering through Kyle Kuzma having a bad back, Rondo having hand surgery, Lonzo rolling his ankle, and you're still not playing and you're losing games, at some point you got to point out that LeBron wanted them to lose to make his point. Do it my way, or we do it no way. That's who LeBron is. And look, you can sit here, and we had Nick right on. You can tell me he's the greatest of all time. No, he's not. First of all, the greatest of all time, won every NBA Finals he was in. Second of all, Michael Jordan had his flaws. He did punch Steve Kerr in the face. But you know what he didn't do? He didn't quit on his team in order to make his point. Never quit on his team to make his point. He didn't. Did not quit on his team to make his point. I don't know how that became okay. I don't know how we got to this point where you go like, well, he did it last year in Cleveland and it worked out. Oh, yeah, by the way, all those guys last year, remember Dwayne Wade? Like, who wanted Dwayne Wade? LeBron James wanted Dwayne Wade. Who the hell do you think wanted him? Miami sure as hell didn't want him at that pay rate, right? They let Chicago overpay him. Chicago was like, no, dude, goodbye. We're good. Who signed Tristan Thompson, that massive deal? And Tristan Thompson with the Kardashians and all that nonsense. Oh, Rich Paul did, because LeBron James said, I want him. You got J.R. Smith. J.R. Smith was on the floor in game one when LeBron James and the Cavs. Who the hell wanted J.R. Smith at that amount of money like LeBron James did? There is no level of accountability ever. He's the least accountable dude ever. Like, look, Jordan didn't like the front office, and he fought him on many of their moves. So at least he has that to be like, look, if it didn't work, and it always seemed to work, if it didn't work, at least you go like, hey, my name's Bennett, and I ain't in it. All this stuff circles around LeBron. And then when he's not getting his way, he pouts, he sits over there, and he wants his team to lose. Which I guess is honest. But what are you doing? And while you can tell me, hey, he did this last year, I know for a fact that the players on that team thought, we got something good going. Remember, before he got hurt, they were fourth in the West. They were 2 games out of first place. They were playing great. And they thought, man, LeBron's the best, and we got great chemistry. We added Tyson Chandler, and yeah, we don't have enough shooting. Maybe we'll add some of that, but we're really, really close. And they were all in on the process. And then stories start to leak, and Magic Magic's negotiation goes astray, and they start throwing everything in there and making guys feel like they're useless, like they're valueless. How do you think they're going to react? And then when Magic's not there on the road trip and LeBron James shuts down and doesn't sit near teammates, he lost his team. Now, maybe he can get it back because he's that good a player, and maybe they pull off this Anthony Davis trade. Feels like, to me, all feels like negotiating tactics. But I don't understand why Dell Demps hasn't pulled it off to begin with. The idea, if you've heard these reports, that the Boston Celtics are, hey, man, everybody's on the table this summer. What about Jason Tatum? We did say everybody's on the table. So you'll trade Jason Tatum with us. You're dealing with Danny Ainge, who, he's a Celtic. You don't think he wants to tweak the Lakers? Everybody does. Oh, yeah, by the way, did Danny Ainge get over on the Brooklyn Nets? Yes, he did. So much so that, Billy Knight lost his job? Yeah, because of that trade. He got over on the Phoenix Suns. That's how they acquired Isaiah Thomas. That general manager lost his job. Kobe Altman only didn't lose his job with that awful trade with the Celtics to get rid of Kyrie Irving last year because he had just gotten hired. And, oh, yeah, by the way, why did Kyrie Irving want out from playing with LeBron James? Because of all this nonsense. There's enough drama with guys, egos, contracts, women, games to deal with. We don't need our best player shutting down on us. Our best player having his agent plant stories so that he can get other guys represented by that agent. Our best player planting stories so that we ultimately fire the coach. We don't want all that. And look, I'm not saying Kyrie Irving's a saint, but LeBron James should accept some of the blame for what is a titanic disaster over the past 48 hours. So should Magic Johnson. His inability to control LeVar Ball, which he had been doing great, and now all of a sudden when things go bad, adversity exposes. And the adversity that hit LeVar Ball where he thinks, hell, Lonzo Ball might be on his way to New Orleans. That's not good for big baller brand. It's just not. But when adversity strikes LeVar Ball, this is what he does. He starts blaming others. Luke's the problem. I don't want him to go there. And I think Rob Pelinka's a little bit should accept some blame. Because Pelinka's nowhere to be found. But it's mostly Magic and LeBron to go along with Rich Paul. Rich Paul, inexperienced, pushing too hard. LeBron trying to control everything. Magic Johnson allowing them to at least believe that they have control. And if you believe you have control, you're going to take control. And now it leaves Luke Walton to feel helpless. His teammates to feel like no matter what he says, what LeBron really thinks is he'd rather have somebody else. And it leaves Magic Johnson in a terrible place in negotiation. If I don't pull off this trade, I have a completely unhappy team that we're going to have to try and fix. And if I do pull off this trade, they're going to want the kitchen sink plus. Because right now we feel we're the only ones who negotiate, and we're negotiating against ourselves. The only thing dumber is the fact that Dell Demps doesn't realize this and make a deal that he's never going to get again. Well, if I wait, I could sell my house for $200,000 more. Or interest rates could raise up and you could be sitting on that house. Dell Demps is the only guy who wants to negotiate with and take Danny Ainge's word for it. I mean, the roster composition and the way in which Danny Ainge did it is sheer genius. They still have draft picks that they can move. Oh, hey, how'd they get Jason Tatum? Remember who they traded with? The Philadelphia 76ers for Markelle Fultz. Who won that trade? Anybody? Anybody? I mean, look, Danny Ainge is basically, he's Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? He's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Listen, Dell Demps, listen, I got this offer from the Lakers. It's pretty sweet. And Danny Ainge just says these aren't the droids you're looking for.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
These aren't the droids we're looking for.
These aren't the players we're looking for. We're not. We don't want Lonzo. We don't want Kyle Kuzma 18, 19 a game. We don't want Brandon Ingram 17, 18 a game. Lonzo Ball, who should be a double-double machine, actually a triple-double machine, and all these picks and cap relief. No. We don't want that. We want the opportunity to maybe get Jason Tatum if maybe Kyrie Irving decides to stay and Jason Tatum becomes available. What? I'm at a loss. But look, shouldn't be surprising. Magic Johnson, incredible player. Terrible analyst. Like one of the all-time worst. And if you think he was bad at ESPN, remember when he was actually at NBC and Michael Jordan hit 6 threes in the first half. It was bad. That's not what he does. That's not what he does. Great player, bad coach, and as an executive, a lot of horse, not a lot of cattle. A lot of hat, not a lot of cattle. Just is. And then Dell Demps is the guy who pulled off the Chris Paul trade only to have the head of the league, come out and go like, that's the worst trade I've ever seen. I just can't let that happen. That was Dell Demps, same guy. You can blame the Pelicans on, well, they're owned by, the football side and the football people. Like, no, this is all Dell Demps. He's negotiating the deal, and he smartly kind of let the Lakers bid up themselves. But then they got to a point where like, this is stupid. We're done. We're out. For that reason, we're out. And that's the only thing that tops the stupidity of what's going on in L.A., where you take a good young team that was building towards something special, and the timing of it was supposed to be next season, not this season. And even if the Lakers pack in and say, hey, our offer stands for the offseason, you've ruined all your relationships in case you decide you want to keep any of these guys. That's the reality of it. The reality of it is if I'm Kyle Kuzma right now, if I'm Lonzo Ball right now, I'm Brandon Ingram right now, I'm like, dude, I don't care what you say. I don't care about this whole it's not personal, it's just business. LeBron follows me on Twitter, tweets at my stuff, acts like we're boys. Magic Johnson acts like he thinks we're these great young players. That's all just an act. How they really feel is, even with all of us combined, they're willing to put in draft picks and expiring contracts. We are not good enough. We are not worthy. What a mess.